So luckily, I will send you some links, but I have no slides. So I will just present you a bit what occurred last year on the 30th of November. So as you might all be aware of, on the 30th of November last year, the European Commission issued the Clean Energy for All European package. In a nutshell, it's more than 3,000 pages on energy policies, ranging from energy efficiency to market design, through renewables, of course, and so on and so forth, in order to complete the energy policy and to be discussed in the Council and Parliament in the next years for the new energy policy up to 2030 and to complete the current initiative we have for 2020. So I'm going to just have a quick talk about the renewable energy framework under this Clean Energy for All European. So the renewable energy framework, and by the way, the whole package, is driven by three main elements. First is, and I'm very happy that this question has been raised twice already this morning at least, energy efficiency first. So the energy, the cheapest and the most efficient energy we have is energy we do not consume. So acting on energy efficiency first. Then make the EU world #1 in renewables. I can answer any question, what does it mean being world #1 in renewables? Not here, but it's also one of the motto and it's also one of the priority of President Juncker for this period up to 2030. And third, and this is what interests us the most, is put consumers at the center of the energy union. So put consumers at the center of the energy union, what does it mean concretely? You are here talking mostly about energy communities and cooperatives. What does it mean concretely in the field of putting the energy consumers at the center? We have 3,000 pages, out of which we currently have more or less 2 articles tackling the questions of energy communities in the energy system. You will say it's not much, but I can tell you it's a huge step forward for the European institutions and for the energy system as a whole. The first recognition of energy communities as part of the energy system with specific rights and specific also features so that they can adapt to the energy system. I will not go into details right now, just to make you aware that under the proposed renewable energy directives, or revision of the renewable energy directive, under Article 22, we have provision enabling communities to compete on equal footing with other generations, with a specific definition, recognition of energy communities, and also the right to consume, store, and produce energy. Under the revision of the electricity directive, under Article 16, we'll also have specific provisions tackling energy communities in a broader range that know not only about renewable generation, but also about grids and participating in the markets. So why did we tackle these specific topics? The answer is pretty simple, actually. Because our modeling showed that between 2020 and 2030, the wind and solar power would increase by above plus 50% in the energy system. This means that we have to find sight, we have to find acceptance, we have to find communities that are ready also to accept these renewables, and we will have to find it, and this is also an argument for us, even if it's not the most obvious, to find locations that are the most cost effective as possible so that we can exploit the best location possible. And this is also an answer. And this is why we have these specific features under this Clean Energy for All European package. On the market electricity directive, it's also a matter of citizen empowerment when it comes to grids ownership and grid management, so that local grids could indeed belong to local communities, which is also a specific feature that is existing under Article 16 proposal, and so on and so forth. So just for doing a bit of teasing, I think I don't want to elaborate more because there are lots of things to say about these elements, so that to make you aware that also the European Commission is working on this field and will continue working on this field, which is also an important message to carry. Just a very quick elements, because I heard very interesting elements this morning on renewable as a whole. Under the Renewable Energy Directive, there is this dimension of consumer empowerment. There are other dimensions that I will not elaborate on right now, but there are other dimensions such as the biofuel sustainability, the investor certainty in electricity. There's also the, of course, the fact that we need to ensure that the target of at least 27% renewables by 2030, which is our European target, is collectively met. And last but not least, we need also to act, and I heard this several times this morning, on heating and cooling. Heating and cooling, we had a directive in the early 2000s where we only tackled, or mostly tackled, electricity. Then we had a glimpse of heating and cooling through building regulation code, administrative procedures in 2009. And now we have articles dedicated to heating and cooling, including district heating. So it's also a step forward in this field, which is not only related to energy communities, but I wanted to make this point. Since heating and cooling, it's almost 50% of the energy we consume in Europe is for heating and cooling, mostly space and water heating. So it's also something important to be made. So I'm over yet. I think that we can have very interesting questions afterwards. I would be very happy to answer. You will also have links and all the possible presentation and documents you need for reference. Of course, I'm happy to follow up. Thanks indeed.